some community tech writers and builders that are not in Gen AI. If you come next, I'm sure you'll read all these thoughts about it. Is one of the hosts of Litmus Space, which I think is one of the top 10 tech podcasts in the US.
It was last year.
It's gonna get there better and is the co-organizer of the AI Engineer Conference / works there, defending there, highly recommended. Please take it away.
Thank you. Thanks, Mihaly. Thank you. Yeah, we have yet to actually have Mihaly on the podcast, but I'm told that we're going to do that eventually for Replit Agent. Okay, so this is a very casual thing. I was asked to prepare a few notes for you guys, and probably half of you also have no idea who I am, so I have to do obligatory social proof as well. Maybe I'll just kind of present. I don't think this doesn't work. The Wi-Fi is not super helpful here. Like, who am I to be speaking? Obviously, I'm just a hacker. I actually got my start a lot with AGI House hackathons as well. So it's really nice to be speaking instead of just hacking, but I'm also really pro hacking as well. We organized the first AI UX meetups about a year and a half ago. This was together with Maggie Appleton, Linus Lee from Notion, Jeffrey Litt, and a bunch of other folks. 200 last year, 400 this year. There's a lot of demos that you can see on Latent Space if you want to see inspirations in AI UX. And I think it's the interest is growing. I think partially it's mostly just front-end developers and developer designers getting into AI. And so we all need something to call it, and we just call it AI UX. If you want more writings on the most popular essays on Latent Space, latent.space is the URL. Have been all about AI UX. I think, and then the last thing that I work on is AI Engineer, which is the conference that Mihaly should have spoken at, but didn't. The general thesis that I promote is something that's very favorable to this crowd and to the closed AI model labs, which is that there's a general idea between there's a spectrum. Oh, this is not very good, huh? Can I zoom in? Does that work? Okay. There's a general spectrum between ML researcher, ML engineer, and then there's like a dotted API line, and then there's a full stack engineer on the right. And what has emerged with foundation models and generative AI is that there's an increasingly specialist role called the AI engineer that is qualitatively very different than the ML engineer and the research scientist. And that is growing and growing. And this is the AI engineer that's figuring out agents, it's figuring out AI UX, figuring out all the other custom stack that is the specialized thing. So you can read the Rise of the AI Engineer post there. I think the tricky thing is over the past 2 years of the existence of the AI engineer, it's come under a lot of criticism, mostly because, like, do we need this to exist? Is this a real job? Shouldn't all full stack engineers just use AI or write AI? And of course, they should. Or like, is it valuable compared to just being an ML engineer, just being a research scientist? And the answer I've been thinking about, which I haven't shared at all except for here, is something I learned from Ben Thompson of Stratechery. Just a show of hands, who knows Ben Thompson of Stratechery? Like 5% of the audience. All of you should read them. Read him. He's like the leading sort of tech business thinker on the planet. Like Apple quotes him for their strategy conversations. I don't need to say more. They have the concept of smiling curves in technology, where this is originally invented to describe the semiconductor market, where the accumulation of value accrues at two extremes: one at the deepest part of tech, and two at the closest to the users. So this is describing Intel and the semiconductors. It later shifted to mobile. So that's Qualcomm, Samsung, and ARM on the hardware side, and then Apple and Samsung on the user side, and then the manufacturers are very, very commoditized and not having that much value. Same thing also happened. Ben Thompson also applied it to content. What the internet did to the content world was effectively reduce the value of publishers and have direct connections for writers to their audience, as well as social platforms that became the most valuable companies on the planet. What does that mean for AI? What is the smiling curve for AI? Something I've been thinking about a lot, showing here for the first time. NVIDIA, of course, the lowest level, making the most money. A whole bunch of these happen to be the sort of middling foundation model companies that actually happen to be doing the worst out of all of these, and actually doing slightly better are the sort of end user companies. And I think this is the core chart that you have to kind of be comfortable with to work in AI UX. You have to believe this is real. This is not real. You should not work on this. You should just write CUDA. And I think the core idea is that, like, you know, are you here just to write GPT wrappers? And is that all there is? Like, is that meaningful at all? And I think the controversial thing is that actually this year, 2024, has been the total victory of GPT wrappers. Like everyone here is doing well. Everyone here has gone under or has been acqui-hired. I call it execu-hired. So actually working on really good AI UX for a domain, for exploiting some model feature and turning into a product, that is the entire job of the AI engineer, and that's the entire job of AI UX. I don't super care about like agents in particular, like it's such a broad word that it's not really meaningful, but I do care that the UX makes sense to people who are not even knowing that we're using AI. They don't care how it's implemented. They just care about, is it intuitive? Does it help them do their jobs? Does it get out of the way? I think I doubt the duplicate my slides. Okay. I'm sorry I didn't have time to like add a whole bunch of logos. And by the way, I'll tweet out these slides later, so you don't need to take photos. I've also recorded the Zoom. What do we know work? These are all basically UX layers on top of a foundation model layer, right? So chat layer over knowledge base, PDF, any chat with PDF thing, all printing money, all doing super well. Chat with web search. So I think the basic idea is, are you searching your internal knowledge base or are you searching the broader internet? There's also spicy autocomplete, which I Copilot and all the other Copilot clones. Chat while coding, I've been thinking about this as like a qualitatively separate thing from autocomplete. And it took us a few iterations to get this right, but I think Claude artifacts is the main thing that you should be aware of. V0 actually even pivoted to this format once you have that, and I think the new Replit agents implementation also matches that quite closely. 0 to 1 creator tooling. This is honestly the least AI engineering thing of the entire set, because it's basically custom access to a model that does one thing well that I don't have. So as a podcaster, we have custom AI music, AI host, and AI image generation, and we use that full stack. But we're just kind of using those models. Like, we don't really care about the UX. It could be bad, it doesn't matter. AI spreadsheets. Elicit, I think, is one of the companies that I strongly recommend. And there's a whole bunch of spreadsheet companies that basically you kind of enter in rows of data and you just kind of fan out work. AI slides. A lot of people talk about Gamma. I'm a bit of a skeptical one of this, but people like it a lot, and I don't get it yet. Things that we know do not work. Things I actually encourage. I think a lot of things in sometimes hackathon, you rarely get people telling you what is a waste of time. So I will tell you what I think is a waste of time. High bandwidth voice. I have voice mode. You can try it. It's not good. The reason you don't have it is not because OpenAI is like short of money or like whatever. It's just not good. Like, why would you release something that's not done yet? Video generation. You can try tablets. I've seen this at the website. And again, like, these are all smart people. I don't want to like crap on their work. They just don't work yet. It's not that they don't work. Canvases. There's a lot of we had this TL draw on. I think about late last year, early this year, we had all these like the draw UI to code and generate code, and we create that. I think very, very viral. Definitely tends to win hackathons and then nothing afterwards. I think it's worth reflecting on why. Like, why do these things impress and then flop? I don't get it. All I know is that it hasn't worked yet. So either you break through it or you choose a different direction. And by the way, we have a TL draw episode as well, if you want to go into that. Multi-hour coding agents, I think, doesn't work. I think that the qualitative difference between what you see OpenAI's approach is versus like all the other and Cognition Devin is mostly that OpenAI tends to just like take the minimal extension of inference to do the next best thing, right? Like, Code Interpreter was very short. Like the amount of multi-step like web search thing is very short. And what you see with O1 is slightly longer. Like the longest that I've been able to get O1 to do something is 2 minutes. Whereas the default Devin experience is like 15 minutes to 5 hours. That's not really the UX that people want. People want fast feedback. I will say though that Devin also nailed the chat with code experience. So it's a complex story, and I'm not a full critic or a full fan of it. VR, AR, needless to say, hasn't worked yet. So those are the things that I want to set context for you for a hackathon. You should have an idea of things that work. You should have an idea of things that don't work, and find something in between, or find something. If you're like if you know that I'm wrong, please prove it. Right? Like that's the spirit of the hackathon. And then from there, from those core examples, I want people to. What I'm really seeking is to extract the principles. For me, the first core principle is every time you copy paste from ChatGPT, that is a product opportunity, right? To eliminate copy paste in your app means like it just like puts the person in flow. Second thing is constraints. Having like a general thing, a text box that can do anything causes me to do nothing, right? Like I'd rather you give me Madlib templates to fill in the blanks so that I can like work with that. Third is exploit multimodality. Far too many apps that just text. Actually, hey, like you can draw and convey a lot more information in a lot more dimensions than takes effort in text. Fourth principle is fan out work. I don't have an example here pulled up, but literally just import a list, like it's 100 rows, fan it out. You have serverless intelligence. Why are you still calling APIs in sequence rather than in parallel? Call it in parallel, call it massively parallel, it's fine. And finally, every 10x in speed unlocks new products. I think maybe the previous hackathon was a Grok hackathon. And we're seeing another 2 to 3x now with Cerebras and SambaNova and all these other guys giving you 500 tokens per second, 1,000 tokens per second inference. What can you do with that you could not do before because it was too slow and unusable? We're still mapping this out. I think this is very early days in AI UX. This is what I've discovered over the last 2 years, and I just wanted to share with you. Thank you. Next, or questions, or?
Let's get to the questions.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we have time here.
Anyone has a question? I'm going for the shortest hackathon.
Yeah, I'd love to hear any comments you have on WorldSim, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, we were the first podcast to interview WorldSim.
Yeah.
What comments? Can you give me more prompts?
Yeah, I think I'm interested in your thoughts on highly open-ended framework like that. WorldSim, for people who don't know, allows you to essentially describe a website and have a website generated, and it's surprisingly good, but not perfect. There are a lot of maybe anything like highly generative concepts where you mentioned constrained to create.
Yeah.
What do you think about things that take the opposite approach, highly open-ended?
I really like that. It's not a real product yet in the sense that it doesn't make money. It's an art piece. So WorldSim is a new kind of canvas. So for people who want to try it out, this WorldSim and WebSim are the two things here, and you can search for our take on it. WebSim.ai, it looks like the one. I think it's an art piece. Again, it's gonna do well at hackathons, and then the question is like, what do people want to create out of it? But I am very supportive of it because it does one thing that all the other AI approaches fail to do, which is take advantage of generative instead of treat it like a disease. I call these temperature 2 versus temperature 0 use cases, right? Like we got generative AI, we got an infinite creative machine, and the only thing we end up doing is treat hallucination like a bug and try to squash it. What if you make hallucination a feature to explore different worlds that exist today? So I'm very supportive of that. We just haven't worked out the business model. Like it's fun art. Yeah.
So you had a slide where you said high bandwidth voice. You were skeptical of that. So there's been some startups like Bland AI that have been making testing that have been.
So point proven, high bandwidth voice is problematic.
Yeah, so there have been some startups that have been using like voice agents for customer support, outbound sales, things like that. Is that what you were referring to with skeptical of high bandwidth voice? or-
No. So I use this to be shorthand for like interruptions. The stuff that was demoed in the voice mode demo. So like customer support agents, yeah, very, I mean, it's proven, it's working, it's making money. Yeah, just it's high bandwidth. Like the next frontier is literally back and forth with low latency, like you and I are doing. The things that need to happen there, basically, we need to predict start and stop points. We need to use context window language to do that. And I think no one, including OpenAI, has trained that.
So you mean like character AI, like that kind of experience hasn't been nailed yet?
No, have you tried character voice?
Yeah,
It's not good.
it's not good, yeah,
So doesn't work yet.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, voice generation works. It's not high bandwidth back and forth conversation, right? Like so every time someone demos something in hackathons or meetups, I see a lot of these, right? Like I go to these like 3-4 times a week. It's just like it's like cool, clap, like great for you, participation prize, but not there yet.
I have a question. So where do you see the future of software engineering in 1, 5, and 10 years?
Oh, jeez.
Are we all gonna be here or are we all gonna be unemployed?
So this is yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Absurd question to answer because I don't know the answer, right? Like, of course. The main meme question thing I say is that if you believe that AI will take jobs, then you should be an AI engineer because it's the job to take the other jobs. AI engineer is the last job. You need an AI lawyer. You need an engineer to build that lawyer, right? Like you need and like the real screw your mind question is, which one will last longer, AI researcher or AI engineer? I even think AI engineer will replace researcher, right? Because like if you can automate the researcher, then engineer will be left to maintain that. So yeah, keep at it because this has some longevity, like until such time we run out of scarcity.
All right, well, also this. I just okay. And in the meantime, I promise a friend of mine to say this week's